Crypto products are unregulated and could be highly volatile. Please be aware of the risks before investing.
राज, बाबूजी के आशीर्वाद से हमने अपनी नई शुरुआत तो कर ली, पर अपना फ्यूचर प्लान कैसे करें?
बड़े बड़े शहरों में ऐसी छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती हैं।
Looking for perfect start? Get a Bitcoin today. Download the UnoCoin app.
जब मैं तेरी उम्र का था ना, तो एक सक्सेसफुल करियर, लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग सब रेडी करके रख चुका था। और एक इन महाराज को देखो, पूरा दिन फोन में लगा रहेगा।
दैट प्लानिंग तो मैंने भी कर रखी है, UnoCoin के साथ।
नए जमाने के साथ नई चीजें आजमाएं। Looking for Bitcoin? Download the UnoCoin app.
Guys, we really need to work hard. This wasn't a good quarter. Tell me, are you happy with this?
UnoCoin.
Want to earn Bitcoin? Just grab your phone and shake it. Download the UnoCoin app.
Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin.
Get a systematic buying plan from the UnoCoin app to get your Bitcoin today. Download the UnoCoin app.
हेलो एवरीवन, वंस अगेन वेलकम बैक टू ऊनो कॉइन्स वीकली लाइव सेशन। सबसे पहले तो आप सभी को धनतेरस की बहुत ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं एंड हैप्पी 71K on Bitcoin reaching this incredible mark on Dhanteras. Like I said on my Twitter post, Bitcoin is in full Dhanteras mode. Today we're going to be discussing about something very important and very crucial, and that is about Bitcoin policy and education in India, for which we have a very interesting guest with us today, Mr. Shreyan Joshi, who is actually taking the initiative to work on the Bitcoin policy and education part for India. Hi Shreyan, good evening. How are you doing today?
Yeah, just checking if my audio is working fine.
Yeah, your audio is working fine, though maybe you should just increase the brightness of your laptop a little so that we can have the picture a little clearer.
Is that better?
Slightly, but okay.
Okay, I'm counting on visibility. But okay, so yeah, thank you so much, Shambhavi, for having me. This is an exciting time to be in India. This is the perfect day to talk about this. Happy Dhanteras to anybody who's listening, and happy Dhanteras to you, Shambhavi. How are you doing?
I'm great and I'm so happy about Dhanteras. I just woke up this morning. Just last night itself, I think in a Bitcoin discussion as there, and I was like, I don't look at price at all. And then they were like, we are actually aiming and waiting to see 70 if it happens today. I'm like, who cares? And then morning I wake up and I'm like 71. I'm like, oh, Dhanteras. So it
Yeah.
is actually a very happy Dhanteras for most Bitcoiners who got it at the right time. And I think 71 is right price for anybody who's because people would have gotten it at lesser only. So
Right, right. And seven is a landmark number. I think seven, there is something about seven. Whenever Bitcoin reaches 70, we feel that Bitcoin is going only up. So, of course, all of us understand that in the short run, it can go down as well. But I think 70K is like a good psychological landmark.
indeed it is. And I am a big fan of Dhanteras and occasions like this. And then when I see Bitcoin's price rising up, it reminds me of the traditional days as a kid growing up that, silver's price gone up in the Diwali hype, gold's price gone up in the Diwali hype. So grown up seeing those kind of numbers during such auspicious days. And now that we have seen similar with Bitcoin, it has gotten me even much more bullish on what it has to offer to the country, to a country like India. So now, Shreyan, coming to the topic of today, Bitcoin policy and education is a very, very, very vast term, and honestly, policy is something we desperately need in India. So, what made you really think of taking an initiative in the direction where you would be working on policy side of the things?
Right, right. That's a great question. That's the most important question in my life right now. So I'm not the authority on Bitcoin by any distance, but what I have seen in the last 2 years that India has a lot of hardcore Bitcoiners, but they're pretty scattered all over the place in India. I'm trying to get them all together and trying to see what we can do as a unit. So there is a word called Bitcoiner, right? When I was new to Bitcoin, I honestly found it very cringe because Bitcoin stands for sovereignty and individual responsibility. So I am a Bitcoiner. I provide my services. I accept Bitcoin. Why do I need to call myself a Bitcoiner? But in the last couple of years or maybe three, I've realized that there is a huge gap in India when it comes to Bitcoin education. There is a massive gap. There is a taboo attached to Bitcoin. People have opinions about Bitcoin which are misplaced, which are on baseless assumptions. So there is a need for Bitcoiners to come together and lobby or advocate or educate people, and that could take multiple forms. There, it's not an easy question, of course, but my goal is to help empower individuals. I'm just trying to see wherever there are pain points for individuals to use Bitcoin. That could be from as basic as just understanding what money is, what economics is, what Austrian School of Economics is. That could then be about Bitcoin, that how do you use Bitcoin, why should I use Bitcoin, why should I care. Then there's like more layers on how does Bitcoin work, and then there's like legal layers of is Bitcoin legal to accept in India, how difficult is it to accept Bitcoin, what should I start with. So questions like these are still scattered all over the place in India. Thanks to a lot of initiatives, it has become very easy now. I think 4 years ago, I wouldn't have, as a lawyer, I wouldn't have become a Bitcoiner as soon as I did. I became that because of the right people and the right initiatives and the right resources that have come about in the last 2 years. And I'm excited to now see this become much bigger in the next 2 years. So that's the overall vision of Bitcoin policy. We also have some smaller term milestones. We are partnering with Bitcoin policy initiatives from UK, France, Canada. There's a few of them that I wouldn't disclose names of who are working closely with myself, but I would highly encourage anybody who's into Bitcoin to be participate in education in however shape or form. You don't have to reveal yourself publicly. You can orange pill your family. You can reach out to Shambhavi. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to anybody on Twitter or Telegram or WhatsApp. You'll find that Bitcoin community in India is pretty small. So once you realize that, you feel responsible for educating people around you.
Indeed, 100%. And like I said, I don't know how many of our viewers saw my other tweet yesterday, which is, it's a very, very interesting thing that I realized because, I've been talking to a lot of people around since it's Diwali around the corner. And I keep talking to people about how beneficial it can be if you just allocate some percentage of your portfolio into Bitcoin.
Right.
I had a very surreal conversation. As a conclusion of that conversation, I realized that if I'm orange pilling one person this Diwali, I'm gifting prosperity to an entire, to generations, not just one
Exactly.
generation, but to generations. And
Exactly.
that's major realization, and I was like, you know, that's fine. I might just do it for one person, but I got to do it for somebody. I got to orange pill one person at least this Diwali. So
More
very
power to you. Yeah, that's the right spirit. That's the right spirit. Just to orange pill one person, you don't have to make a yeah, you don't have to make a video that scales to everybody. You have to make a video that resonates with somebody and solves a problem for them.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Shreyan, so far, I think this has been something you have been working on for past 6 months, I believe. And so far, what are the crucial aspects you think really, other than education part, like you mentioned, what are the crucial parts from the policy side of the things you need is very much you think is needed in order to maybe
Yeah.
kind of process hyper bitcoinization, or if not hyper bitcoinization, at least some sort of adoption growth.
Right, right. Yeah, that's an amazing question. So coming to the part where I said that we have some smaller term milestones as well. So I'll come to that. The framework that I use is that if you have a choice that will accelerate Bitcoin adoption, you pick that choice. This is like the one moment decision that we always pick. That if I am helping Bitcoin adoption, I have to just follow that path, whatever that path of least resistance is. We have to respect individuals and India as a culture as well. India can't just get onboarded to Bitcoin tomorrow. It can't get onboarded to Bitcoin in the next 6 months. So what the smaller term milestones that we have come up with is to first educate. It's just create a repository of resources that anybody new to Bitcoin, whether it be an individual, whether it be a bureaucrat, a lawyer, somebody who's not technical, should not be intimidated by a thing like Bitcoin. What you find in conversations with people is that people already assume that Bitcoin is complicated, where it is not. The value proposition is very simple, right? You don't have to know the internet to use the internet. You just have to use it and find value in it. Same with Bitcoin. You just have to use it, find value in it, and over time, because Bitcoin speaks for itself, you will realize the power and the utility of Bitcoin. So one is resources and education. We will have a repository of everything you need to know, A to Z. It's like we are Mr. Bitcoin. All of us who are working in Bitcoin, you should not have to go to anyone else to know basics of Bitcoin, right? So whenever we have voices in a country, we have faces and voices. It's like whenever something springs up into a movement, so you are already a voice, I am already a voice. So the first is education and repository of resources. Second and third are something that we are building towards. One is resistance towards CBDC adoption. This is a sad reality that in India regulators are have been bashing Bitcoin, and that's been the mainstream narrative. Most people still think that Bitcoin is eventually going to be banned, which is untrue because there's a strong precedent in the Supreme Court judgment in 2019. So it can't be banned overnight. It will have to go through the due process of legal due diligence in India, which wouldn't just happen under the carpet. And the third is seeing Bitcoin mining operations in India. So I'm in touch with a lot of Bitcoin miners that I can't disclose because they are doing it discreetly. But there's a huge interest in scaling mining operations in India. What that will require is regulatory clarity. So you have major public companies of the US who would be interested in opening shop in India. But we don't even have to think on those lines. We have to enable Indian entrepreneurs to be able to scale their mining operations. For that to happen, we will need to either educate power companies or educate local governments so that they can use their renewable energy resources. So I was visiting Kasol just a couple of days ago, and everybody knows about the potential for hydro and renewable energy there. It's mainly hydro, but there's some geothermal and yeah, there's some other resources as well. But I think because of standard energy resources which are untapped in India, which can't be used for any other industry, it perfectly just sits there for Bitcoin mining to start monetizing it. It creates jobs for the local people living there. It creates revenue for the government. It creates revenue for the entrepreneurs. So it's like a golden duck that we have to use judiciously, and eventually it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time and building the right relationships and helping people on board to Bitcoin without too much of a hassle.
Like it's rightly said, it's not the question of when, it's not the question of if, it's the question of when. And when is very soon is what I believe, because right now the coming generation, one experience that I really admire I've had in the past few days is that it's very hard to change the mentality of the people who have already adopted to the traditional finance ecosystem, but they're still willing to explore to some extent. But the new
Yeah.
generation that's coming in is very up and willing to change the landscape and the narrative altogether. And they
True.
want disruptive technology, they want disruptive money, they want disruptive everything that aligns with their ideologies. So
True.
Gen Zs are a lot about rights and wrongs. They're a lot about they don't know the gray area. For them, there's either a black or a white, and they want to stick to the white in terms of logic at least.
Right.
There's no
True,
gray
true,
logic
true.
for them. It's white or black logic for them. So if it
I
is,
agree. I agree.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a powerful statement. I think India is already onboarded to digital payments, right? So our parents will get orange pill when we get orange pill, and we are already orange pill because we are comfortable with digital payments. The only missing education piece is sound money. People don't understand what Bitcoin is. Once you make that switch, it's not difficult, right? It's for yourself. It's like you are planning 5 years, 10 years down the line. You want to be a rich person. You want to be a happy person. You want to see your family and your purchasing power grow in power in everything, right? So this is how Bitcoin adoption will happen, and like you said, it's happening sooner than most people realize. So I did not even touch about. So we did discuss in Bitcoin policy discussions that maybe we want to touch on the point of ETFs in India, but I think that's already happening. It does not need Bitcoin policy to make it happen for India, which in my opinion is a great thing. There are some nuances to why that could also be a concern, and I'm happy to discuss them. But I think it's an overall education piece for India. If tomorrow Geo comes with a Bitcoin ETF for retail investors, he's onboarding billions to Bitcoin within a matter of weeks. So I'm not too concerned about ETFs coming to India. I'm actually happy for it. Yeah, so eventually it's going to happen. Maybe it's going to happen in the next 2 years. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, the best part about Bitcoin is that I don't bother predicting it. I'm never going to be correct. So I don't bother predicting it a lot. What I'm really concerned about is that I tell the right information to whosoever I'm talking to and convey the right sense of what Bitcoin stands for, and that is majorly the goal. And okay, so I see the comment section here, and there's
Somebody is post-
some interesting couple of pointers. Also, guys, if you have whatever questions, no, please drop them in the comment section. Shreyan will be very happy to answer them related to education, related to policy, related to price, related to prediction. Shreyan is sitting here to give you all the right answers today. Okay. Rahul Sharma is saying Bitcoin 72K. Trust me, Rahul, I'm very happy about it, and I'm a person who never checks the price. So I'm like, you know, very, very, very happy. Okay, we have Soma Shekhar here, and he's saying, "Hi, BTC is going on. Go Chain. Geo coin is available in Uno coin." अच्छा, नहीं, जहाँ तक मेरी जानकारी है, Somshekhar, as far as I know, the Go coin is not available in on Uno coin. Or Go coin is, I'm not aware. No, no, it's not available. As per what input I have received just now, it's not available. And if you really want to go and have that coin added, maybe you can drop a mail to. I think our backend team can put the email ID where we can just share this. But I think Shreyan will give you. Okay, Rahul has already answered what GoCoin might feel like, but always do your own research when it comes down to things. It's not right and wrong. I think we've all had our journey of being altcoiners, altcoin enthusiasts, and then becoming finally Bitcoiners, realizing what it stands for. It's fine. It's a journey, and I'm sure you will also get there. But if you're getting an opportunity to explore what Bitcoin is before GoCoin, go for it. Troll Master over here is asking, "Hi Shambhavi, can I ask you what the business does UnoCoin have? Ask me which wallet I'm storing my BTC in while taking self custody. GetBit and all other exchange don't need any such information." So, Troll Master, I'm not sure, if this question was popped up in what context. Ideally, I will have to check. And sure, just drop an email, and I think support team will answer this question for you. Right now, I do not have the answer. I'm also not the right person to answer this question because I'm not aware of, what is exactly the message that you've received. So just drop an email, please, and then the support team will look into it and they'll get back to you with an answer. Pallav is here. Hi, Pallav. Don't buy altcoins for the sake of people watching this. Buy only Bitcoin. I agree. But since it's what do we say? It's a market. There's a demand. People don't know the right side. I think there are a lot of ways to reach to one place. Sometimes we take the scam way. Sometimes we take the difficult way of studying and understanding Bitcoin, which is the hardest way, where you decide where you're self-aware that you have to recognize the value of it, and then you have to go put in the hard work, put in the work to understand it. So if you are willing to do that, that's the hardest way. Take it the best way. Otherwise, there's always multiple ways to go through altcoins, to go through scams, to go through NFTs, to go through multiple kind of things. And I mean, it's the bottom line is that everybody is a free citizen of this country, and everybody has the right to do as they wish to. But
Shout
yeah,
out to Pallab for Rikto Jongati. So he's the founder of Me Premier Bitcoin node in India. So do check his work out. So if anybody is confused about Bitcoin or which altcoin to consider, Pallab is one of the most famous educators from Bitcoin in India. So do check his work out.
yeah. So, Pallab, if you can drop a link to something, we would be very happy to have it with all of our users, and they can just go to it and discuss this. Okay, Shan. Now coming to the most interesting question that I was thinking about since morning. That when we'll have this session, I'm gonna ask Shreyan about this. Already there's a conjecture in India that Bitcoin is not legal, Bitcoin is banned, and all those things. Amid that, we saw a very recent article by the Hindustan Times where they mentioned that the CBDC is going to take more of a mainstream lead when it comes to crypto side of the things, and they might ban cryptos and Bitcoin. So, what is your opinion on this? Is this possible? Is this not possible? If it is possible, what are the consequences, and is Bitcoin policy the initiative you're working on also considering this as a major factor that can happen in the
Yes.
coming days?
Right. Yes, so this is a new development that I have now started focusing on. So CBDC adoption has been not that relevant in India. So maybe some statistics will tell you that they have onboarded thousands or millions of people, but to the best of our experiences, we all know that on ground in India, UPI is still the predominant mode of payment, and you'll hardly find any vendors wanting to accept CBDCs. So on one hand, I was not too concerned. I am still not too concerned, but this is still something that we need to consider as Bitcoin community. That the RBI governor has made it clear that he wants to ban Bitcoin. So it's not in his power because there is a strong Supreme Court precedent which protects rights of individuals to use Bitcoin. But having said this before as well, we need education. We need people to be aware of this. We need a stronger cohort of people who will defend against any authoritarian measures from the government. In India, we are lucky to have freedom of speech protected. There are some gray areas when it comes to Bitcoin. But thankfully, we have a strong precedent from the Supreme Court, and we have a strong body of individuals who had led that. UnoCoin is the team who was responsible for it. It's the reason that all of us are working in Bitcoin right now. So I'm not too concerned. I am concerned more about the lack of Bitcoin education and initiatives in India. That's why I'm so proud of and inspired by John Gati and Plebs Together Strong and B4I and Bitshala, because people are putting themselves out there more and more, and that's the missing link in India. Everything is working. You see the technology working. You see the benefits coming in the last 1 year because of the ETF cycle that's pumped the price, and it's only going uphill, right? So Bitcoin is not going anywhere. Bitcoin is unstoppable, and if this uncorrupted piece of technology is not being adopted by India, it's a failure on the part of us. It's like we as Indians who call ourselves Indians somehow fail to help our friends, families grasp the importance. So RBI chairman does not get to make that decision. It's the decision in the hands of us. And we live in a democracy. It's not going to happen overnight that RBI chairman does not like Bitcoin, so he gets to ban Bitcoin. He will have to come up with stronger arguments for why that is the case. And Bitcoin policy is not currently putting together a structure for the exact arguments against it, but it's one of the pillars that we are actively working towards, because this is a new development. This happened less than 1 week ago, and I'm already conversing with more people about how we should look at it. Currently, it's only posturing. There is no legislation that is in process to ban Bitcoin, but he has made the statement clear, which in a sense is a thing that at least it's loud and clear. And just to quote Safedin on this does not stop Bitcoin adoption at all, because yeah, I like my designation of Bitcoin Evangelist. I'm not loyal to a specific brand. I'm loyal to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin itself won't be stopped by any regulation by any company, because Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer network. You find enough people who value Bitcoin, you meet them in person and exchange Bitcoin. There's nothing that can stop you.
Nothing that can stop you. That is the motto of Bitcoin, and nothing should be able to stop you. That is why it was created in the first place. And I like how people just fail to realize that, and you know, but then again, it comes down to it being a process where people realize it. I think some people did in the past recession. As a result, Bitcoin was adopted so quickly back then, and as a result, even 15 years later, it's relevant. The network effect has grown significantly. We have more and more people across the globe, financial institutions recognizing it as an asset class, including it in their, asset management operations and all those things. It's going great. And right now, anybody who's feeling to see all of these progresses is certainly lagging behind. Again, right now it's 71K, 72, I think, like Rahul mentioned. Tomorrow it might go 73, 74. Week later it might go 80. We don't know where it's going to go and what time it's going to go to that price. But trust me, the real traction comes in there. And
There's nothing wrong with it. Just to plug this point that some people hate on NGU for no reason. It's like that's the whole point, right? It's supposed to preserve your purchasing power. Over time, it's supposed to go up in purchasing power. You don't have to think in short horizon. That's the missing education piece that you have to communicate to people. And don't think in 4 months horizon. Think in 4 years horizon, right? You're not going to become very old in 4 years from now. You're going to still want to do things in 4 years. So think in that time horizon, and Bitcoin will click for you. So nothing wrong with NGU. More power to NGU. Price going up is the thing that gets Bitcoin, gets all of us into Bitcoin the first.
yeah, 100%. Rahul over here is saying Pallab, Nihal, Bhavik, Shambhavi doing great, guys. Thank you so much, Rahul. And you are doing a great job by being here and, being a Bitcoiner. I think I have a huge respect for anybody and everybody who's a Bitcoiner at this given point of day and time, because they crack the code, they escape the metrics. I have a huge respect. And we are all incessantly being proven lunatics in front of our family and friends because we keep talking about Bitcoin. And, we still very consistent in our efforts of educating them on Bitcoin. We fail sometimes, we succeed sometimes. It just all comes down to us being lunatic Bitcoiners who have just cracked the code. And yeah, sooner we're going to have more and more people. Acha. Also, Shreyan, one more interesting thing. I see more Bitcoin initiatives this year than there were last year's.
Yeah.
So I think, do you think price is a contributing factor? Do you think the community is getting more and more active because it's the time to be active now?
Right, right. I think it's a mix of everything. I think it's like Michael Saylor and Saifedean have orange pilled thousands and millions in the world. And after the COVID, after the pandemic, I think there's a lot more awareness in India as well. And the 2021 hype cycle, of course, contributed to as well. It got a lot of people interested in crypto and then eventually into Bitcoin. But yeah, kudos to everybody who's taken those initiatives. So I think it's individuals. It's individuals who are just who have just decided that, hey, I'm putting myself out there. I learn in the process, because Bitcoin is a multidisciplinary thing, right? It's a 15-year-old thing. Nobody can claim to be the voice of authority on Bitcoin. And there's a good history on that. There's a good history on what has resulted in people taking too much of an influential role in Bitcoin's evolution. So India has, I think, the perfect recipe for Bitcoin adoption, because we are a population that's 1.4 billion. We are a democracy. We speak English. There's a lot of population that speaks English, which by the way, I just mean to say that it's easier for us to get onboarded to Bitcoin because a lot of English speaking population already understands English, and there's a need for translations for sure. I'm not saying that we don't need education in local languages, but people like you and I, people who are in 20s and 30s, already understand Bitcoin. We don't need to sit for hours learning how to code. We just need to have some resources which are written by experts like Andres Antonopoulos, by Saifuddin, by Saylor, to grasp the importance of it. So I think India is at a perfect position because we are also a country of copycats, right? We copycat technology. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We don't need to reinvent. We don't need to be satoshis. We need to be people who are plebs, right? Who use Bitcoin, who advocate for Bitcoin, who understand the value of it, and with time help people adopt Bitcoin. I think the question you asked about legality is again one of the taboos that most people have. So in India, in the last 1 year, there's more regulatory clarity than there has ever been. So
Yeah.
companies who are registered in India have to now comply with PMLA, and they have to get registered with the FIU. So there's clear guidelines for companies to operate, clear guidelines to report their suspicious transaction report. So there's clear guidelines for companies to operate and individuals to adopt Bitcoin. There's also clear tax implications for using Bitcoin. So yeah, it's a matter of time that we see major players like Geo also eventually get into Bitcoin in the next few years. What I'm more excited about is just individuals using it more and more.
100% individuals using it more and more, and it becoming a more popular thing than Coldplay concert tickets right now. That is,
Yeah.
the hype. I just want to say that, and sooner or later it's gonna happen. And like you very rightly mentioned, this generation does not need to sit on the computer spending hours to understand Bitcoin. It'll click, because it's
Yeah,
it's
skin
just
in the game. This is how I explain to people. It's like everything you learn in life, right? Whether it's asking out the girl you like, whether it's riding a bicycle, you do by just doing it, and you fall and then you get up again. So same with Bitcoin, just buy a small amount. And this is like not financial advice. I want to also be clear with where my position in that is. Of course, study Bitcoin, read resources, watch articles, watch videos, read articles, read books. But also just get going. It's like get skin in the game, and you learn as you go. You don't have to be an expert of finance to dip your toes into Bitcoin.
Yeah, you don't need to be an expert of anything. That's the beauty of it, the interdisciplinary model of Bitcoin itself. So, a lot of people have this opinion because I work in fintech, or because I have had a fintech background or a commerce background and a communications background. That's why I understand Bitcoin. I'm like, no, no.
Actually, yeah, that's a great point. A lot of people also confuse that if you have a software background, if you have a law background, you might be better catered to understand Bitcoin. I know it's like you need to be human. It's like money is supposed to solve the problem of specialization in trade. We are good at what we do, right? Let's do more of that. It's like I'm good at what I do. I'll do more of that. I'll get money for it, and over time, it should just hold its purchasing power. It should serve a very simple role that it
Yeah.
should not go away from me, right? It's something that it's like hodl spirit is the thing that gets people into Bitcoin, right? This is something that I hold close to my heart, close to my well-being, etc. So money solves a very simple problem. Education on money, sadly, has been it's a tragic thing. Of course, the deeper you study history, the more you realize that it was intentional. It did not just happen out of nowhere that people do not understand money. On one hand, it's a human thing. It's a money is a complex thing. Nobody's denying that it's very simple to understand. But there's also the whole school of Keynesian economics that convolutes understanding money, which is a sad reality, and we are having to disintegrate all of that and build up education from ground up. Thankfully, Austin economics have been doing that for the last at least 5 decades, and in the last few years, Bitcoin community has taken the role of education overall. So if you start going deep into Bitcoin, you start questioning everything, and you see Bitcoiners holding close reputation as their capital, because that's how you build reputation, that's how you build trust, right? So Bitcoin is replete with scammers, it's replete with misinformation. The only way to sift through that is to find people who are actually doing good work.
Yeah, it really do matters because any Bitcoiner telling you trust me, don't trust them. Bitcoiners will always tell you don't trust me. It's a trustless space. Verify, don't trust, verify. Mode of Bitcoin. So also, Shreya, now coming back to our Bitcoin policy and education part, one thing that I see as a serious problem that I myself want to work towards, in the near future is the rural economic development individually. Right now, we say that FD is India's favorite investment class, which it is. Even in cities, when I go, I see people, their favorite mode of investing is FD till date. Now SIP is coming in mainstream as another favorite medium of investment, right? People don't understand anything. People don't understand Bitcoin. People don't understand money. People don't understand stocks, bonds, anything. They just want ki ha, because investment is a thing going on and everybody's doing it. I'll also start doing SIP. So they'll call up the bank person, which was the best SIP, and we'll start it. That's what is
Right.
happening. But when we look at the rule, at least there's some progress from FD. People are now moving to at least our SIPs and everything. But in rural region, that itself is not a case. Saving money is a crucial aspect where they don't even understand what is money, saving money. So is this something in your plan pipeline too, where you are going to be focusing on rural region because they need Bitcoin the most, more than me, more than you? those people need Bitcoin the most, and it's the hardest to explain it to them.
Right, right. Those are such amazing points, Shambhavi. Thank you for bringing them to light. I think that's, yeah, that's something that I haven't put too much attention to, sadly. But I think that's the most important piece, as you said, because they need Bitcoin the most. And if we are going to come to mass adoption, we need support from them. We will need them to advocate for Bitcoin, right? It's very easy for mainstream media to create a narrative that Bitcoiners are the problem. So it's definitely very key that we orange pill them, we help them onboard to Bitcoin. I think the way to do that is just to go back to our roots. So I'm from Indore. I'm speaking English because I've had to speak English because I've had to learn English. This is not how I speak. This is not how I'm most comfortable speaking. So I want to go back to Indore. I'm traveling there because it's Diwali. I want to spend time with family. I want to spend time with my neighbors again, right? I haven't done that in a while. And just talk to them, just build trust with them. You don't have to talk about Bitcoin with them. You just have to get to know them, right? And inflation is a universal monster. It's not as if it's affecting you, it's affecting everybody. So eventually they are going to ask those questions. Eventually you're going to build trust with them. Eventually they're going to ask you questions. What do you do? You'll tell them, hey, I'm into Bitcoin. Like, what is Bitcoin? And then you start their journey. So the way to do that is just to go back to our roots, and it's individuals doing that again. I can't orange pill somebody in Assam, right? I can't speak Assamese. You need somebody like Pallab to take that lead and start educating people in his area, and that goes same for me in Indore. That goes for you in. I won't disclose your city if you're not comfortable. And yeah, same for more people who are willing to put themselves out there and say that, hey, I'm a community leader here. I'm trying my best to educate people. I'm not an authority on Bitcoin. Personal responsibility, please do your own research. But I think the way to do that is just to have more of us and doing more local work. Yeah, sadly, I have not been doing enough of that. So I'll probably have to dig deeper into how to do that in Indore. I've lost your voice, Shambhavi. I can't hear you.
I muted myself for a minute. Okay. So I love what's going on in the comment section. Vasanta is here saying, yo guys, should I invest in Donkey Coin? Rahul is saying, yes, Donkey Coin is future. Okay. Vilash is saying, love Indori Poha. Hyper Bitcoinization is when we buy save with sats. I agree.
Yeah.
That is the end goal. The day we see that, हमने कुछ achieve कर लिया, जीवन सफल हो गया उस दिन हमारा. Um, Over here we have Yash who's saying it's funny how people think an SIP is an investment and not an investment strategy or methodology. I know, right? And I have been struggling to. I'm like, what is the return that you're aiming at with your SIPs? They don't know what are the assets. What is the basis of choosing the assets or choosing the particular SIP? They don't know. Whatever people are telling them, they're just doing it. That's the problem. I don't know. Maybe there are two aspects to thing in India where people just need an RM or a
Yeah.
advisor or something. They'll just do the hand holding and go ahead with it because people don't want to learn all of these things on their own. And I don't know where's this problem coming from. Maybe because of our education system, they've taught us unnecessary thing for so long that we are tired of learning more in our lives
Yeah.
in a more.
Yeah, I think it's conventional wisdom. It's fighting the oldest battle in humanity. That conventional wisdom does not die down easily. So most people, they sound smart when they talk about investments, right? They sound like they know what they're doing, and people fall for that. So it's a new thing to do independent research, to study, to talk to more people, to gain conviction over time. It's a hard process. Of course, it's going to take time for each individual, but it's conventional wisdom. We're not fighting a new battle, right? Every technology, every new idea has had to fight that. So yeah, it's a sad thing, but it's a natural thing. It's something that we have to grow comfortable with, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Pallab here is saying, imagine buying badam in train station using lightning. Ah, dream come true. I'll be so happy because by that time I will have so many sats more than most people at that time. Abhilash has an interesting question for you, Shreyan. Okay, he's asking, will Shreyan accept sats as his wedding gift?
Of course I will. That's
We're
the
getting
number.
married.
Yeah.
वाह वाह ठीक है तब तो फिर हमें एक ऐसे क्यूआर लगाना पड़ेगा आपके स्ट्राइक वॉलेट है किसी चीज का एंड देन वील जस्ट स्कैन इट ओवर एंड विल सेंड sats to it because yeah it's the most amazing wedding gift that you can ask for.
Yeah.
knowing the value of Bitcoin. Let's Together Strong here is saying orange pillow barber and a local bartender. बार-बार बिल्कुल करना तो चाहिए, 100% करना चाहिए and I think Shreyan, the number of cab rides I've had with Shreyan whenever he's been in the town, we are sitting in a cab, we're talking about something completely different and he'll ask the driver, भैया आपको बिटकॉइन के बारे में पता है? आपको पता है कितने दुनिया चेंज कर सकते हैं वो? And the cab driver will also get super intrigued and like नहीं भैया पता तो नहीं है बस सुना है. And he'll go full on orange pulling that person. I don't know how many times have I heard the same pitch from Shreyan in multiple cab rides. But yeah, that's the spirit of being a Bitcoiner.
But yeah, shout out to Plebs Together Strong. So the way I've been doing it, like I said, is not digging deeper into a specific area. Plebs Together Strong has made its focus clear. They are doing it in Goa. They're already onboarding merchants. They are focusing on grassroots education, like proper sound economics education. So shout out to Plebs Together Strong and be on the watch for what's happening in the next few months in Goa.
Yeah, yeah, and I would love to go and also help them with their initiative. And everybody and anybody who is visiting Goa, please, do get in touch with the team, the founding members, and see what they've got to do, what they've got to offer, catch up with them. And I've also built a habit. Now I'm going to be traveling for Diwali to some places, and I've just been asking, okay, who are the Bitcoiners in this region? Who are the Bitcoiners in this region? So that I just get to meet people in different regions. Bringing them together is a challenge I feel with the Bitcoin community is because you know um, you know all the communities are coming together. Bitcoiners identity, privacy, protection, all those things are keeping us a little reclusive. The time is to come together to take movements as a community and to participate in mass adoption as we go towards it, because this is the best time. Trust me, people are crazy about the price and all-time highs and it's gonna flood our twitters. So this is the best time to teach people that maybe buy it at this time, maybe understand it first, but just because they're going to be interested right now, that is the point. The idea is to use the price hype wave, and let's see how.
Also, a good time to be cautious as well. Just a quick disclaimer that use the right tools. You're going to be inundated with a lot of misinformation, with a lot of scammers trying to get you. So do your own research. That's the only rule in Bitcoin. You have to take personal responsibility and use the right tools, use the right resources. Don't jump into something that you know nothing about. Build trust with the people that you know, and yeah, be on the watch out for trustworthy resources and yeah, and the tools.
Yeah, 100%. Also, if Elon Musk is messaging you saying, I'll send me your bitcoins, I'm going to double them and send it back to you, don't trust. Please. I remember so many people texting me from last year when I think in November and December when the price was going great towards an upward trajectory. A lot of people were texting me, this is a message I received from Elon Musk. Is it possible that it's true? I'm like, no, nobody can double your bitcoins,
Yeah.
other than the price action itself, nothing
Yeah.
can double up the value of your bitcoin. So
The win here is that the person reached out to you. I think that's the great part. It's like that's the power of Bitcoiners putting their voice out there because you build trust with people, and that comes with a huge responsibility. I do not mean to say that take it lightly. Whoever is putting themselves out there, you have to be cautious about your own personal life and the responsibility that comes with building trust.
So Shreyan, now just to get a higher level understanding of something that I have been working towards as well. I've been working on a few articles as of late, and this is one of the points that I really want to put out there. I'm working on making my tone a little more, no coiner friendly, where they read it and they also understand and they also perceive the idea that I'm trying to convey via the articles. So the potential impact on India's financial future, that is a very crucial part. Financial future, there are different definitions of how India is doing economically as of now. One definition is what is being propagated by the mass media. One definition is what is being discussed in the Lok Sabhas and Rajya Sabhas and the policy makers. Another definition is what people are perceiving out of both of these things. And then there's a reality.
Right. Right.
So, how do you perceive as of that as of now, and how do you plan on conveying people that the impact of Bitcoin on India's financial landscape is really major. Like,
Right. Right. That's a powerful question. That's like the biggest question that our generation is facing right now. I don't have a conclusive answer. What I have is experience and insight to draw from. I completely agree that we need to focus on making no coiner friendly education. I think there's just too much jargon that's being used when we talk about Bitcoin. There's too much. I think it's very easy to fall trap to the arrogance of being a Bitcoiner that, hey, I understand Bitcoin, I'm somehow smarter than you. I understand something about reality, which is not true. It's like you've had to go through your own process. You've been privileged in certain ways to be able to have the time to do the research. So I think the critical piece is making it as simple as possible, and that's the challenge. But I think the way I do it is just asking people where are they in life, like what do they like, what do they dream of. That's what I'm curious about. I'm not curious about Bitcoin. I'm curious about seeing how people can thrive. If Bitcoin fits into their life, I'll try to plug that in. Hey, you might want to check out Bitcoin. Talking to a kid yesterday when I was traveling back from Kasol, who's 22, who's like a very studious kid, and he's doing good in his life already. And he started asking me questions about Bitcoin. We exchanged information about what we do. Started asking me questions about Bitcoin, and he was already intrigued just by the fact that he's 22 and he wants to think about his future already. It's a very individual journey, right? You can't throw Bitcoin someone's. I think the metaphor is you can't plug it, you can't shove it down someone's throat. So the way to do that is to first understand the person. I did not open the conversation with Bitcoin. I opened the conversation with him. It's like, what do you do? He started talking about himself. I'm a developer. I said, hey, you already have a background in programming. You might want to look into Bitcoin. It's a piece. It's free and open source software. Then he said, hey, I know nothing about it. What is it? Then we started talking. So I think the way to do that is to break down no coiner education for the masses. I'm no expert on mass psychology. I am somebody who's trying to understand human behavior better. I think macroeconomics also plays a huge role. Most people don't think of national debt or what's happening geopolitically and the history of central banking. These are concepts that most people do not hear of, right? I did not hear of them in my entire legal education. I did not hear of them in my school education, which was one of the best schools in Indore. It's so sad that we were never even taught the history of central banking, and yeah, we never had the chance to study that from an expert or from somebody experienced. We've had to push through a lot of misinformation. But once we have done that, I think just doing it in Hindi, doing it in your own creative ways, let's be fun about it. It's like just I'm somebody who's wanting to do good work, and I'm not an expert, but I'm trying to help people. And over time, you become expert, right? Because you do it more and more, you gain expertise. I'm not a programmer, but I know Python at this point, and I know how to run a full node. It does not require you to become a computer scientist. It does not require you to go through a 4-year program. Bitshala does it in less than 6 weeks. If you go through a program, you are already somebody who can run a full node, who can create transaction on your laptop. You can verify the entire Bitcoin consensus rules without being a C++ expert. So that's the take away from my experience that just talking to more people, talking to your mom helps. I think I have been talking so much about Bitcoin to my mom because हक बोलते हैं ना जैसे हक मेरी मम्मी के ऊपर है because she cares about me. So I can say that, hey, please give me your time. I will सर खाता हूँ मैं उनका 6 घंटे. She comes back with questions. She comes back with her own insights. That I'm trying to accelerate Bitcoin adoption. That's not going to happen because it's a new thing. People will need their time. This is where my mom has helped me become more humble. So yeah, I think talk to your mom is the thing that I will advise to people.
yeah, talk to your mom, talk to your parents. Talk. It's the time of festivals. Now, even I'm gonna be going to a bunch of people, and usually I host house parties here in my city, Bangalore, and I have a bunch of people over, and I think after a certain point at night, when the discussion dinner's over, we're all having cheerful discussions. We were just saying things. I bring up this point of Bitcoin slightly, from one little corner, and I'm like, this is the price today, and I told you to buy it at this point. So that's how first I create FOMO.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I've seen that to work a lot. I've seen that to work magnificently well, more than me telling them about what is money, what is everything.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah, this has been working with me for my school friends. I've been an asshole to them. I've been just pumping Bitcoin memes into them, and they get annoyed, but they do come back with questions. So, Yeah, like I said, it's a group, it's a dynamic thing, right? Everyone has their own lives, has their own way of doing things. So there's no one formula for how to be human, right? Bitcoin is a human thing, money is a human thing. There's no one formula for human. It's like go be yourself, just do not harm anyone, right? That's the only rule. So be creative with Bitcoin education. It's like you, that's the number one rule. Yeah, the great thing about Bitcoin in India right now is that you get to be a rock star. There are not enough Bitcoiners who are wanting to do it. So more people putting themselves out there are already leaders because they are taking the plunge of understanding something so vast and multidisciplinary as Bitcoin. And once they get better at it, they become the become the Bitcoiner in their circle, which I have grown to love now.
Yeah, also, I've always sought for an avenue where I feel fulfilled at the end of the day. I've had my experiences where I have felt that, where I haven't felt that, and where I have not felt that, I've realized that, okay, this is not my thing. This is what I need to do. And, growing up, I think I've always had this little empathetic attitude about helping out others with the information that I have and that they don't have. That is the biggest power that we have got,
Right.
information,
True.
knowledge. And
True.
if you have a voice, if you can speak well, if you have got the right ways to explain things, you'll all figure out the right ways to explain things. But
Yeah.
it's more about, if you have a voice, if you can speak well, go out there, tell people about Bitcoin, because it's going to change their lives and their generations are going to thank you. That is the power of it. And I just want one thing, before I die, I want people to remember that, this person came down to me and she forced me to learn about Bitcoin, which I did, because of which my life is this from what it could have been.
Yeah.
So that is the
Yeah.
beauty of Bitcoin that I really, really, really admire. That यार
It's
ये अपना silent, अब how I don't know if I'm able to find the right word for it, but it's a silent medium for us to outshine this world, to
yeah.
create a value, to create an impact that we might not have been able to do, and maybe we would have been able to do or not,
Yeah.
but in the way that
I
we
get what
can.
you're saying.
Yeah,
Right.
Bitcoin is much, much, much impactful, powerful, sensible, and it's the best thing that you can do as a Bitcoiner, because you already know. I know there are struggles. I know there are a lot of challenges to while explaining people about it. It'll, people do come around. My theory is that it takes four goes for me to finally make somebody visit a Bitcoin selling application to check out the price. This is the fourth, like three times I've already told them. First time is resistance. Second time is, yeah, okay, whatever. Third time is, okay, tell me more. Fourth time is when they actually open the app and they're like, okay, this is the price, and they sign up and they do all those things. So
Wow.
it's a process. Don't give up on people in one go.
Right, right, right. So
Yeah.
that's very insightful. Yeah. More power to you, Shambhavi. I think you have also helped my personal education as well. So more power to you for doing this and yeah, putting yourself out there. I've been inspired by you um, interviewing more people and getting more Bitcoiners into the Bitcoin ecosystem, right? I think you're also at the crossroads of traditional finance. So you understand their mental roadblocks as well, which is something that I personally lack. I have been an idealist for the last longest time. So I generally just like I don't talk to me. It's like you don't get it. I don't have the time to explain. It's like I'm not interested in changing people's minds. I'm interested in educating people and getting feedback from that. A lot of people when they come that collision that hey Bitcoin is for criminals, I immediately just back off. It's like okay, don't it's not for you. But I think like you said, I think it's the fourth go right. Give them three more chances before giving up on them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a journey. Did you understand Bitcoin in the first go? Of course not. You disregarded it like anything. Like, I don't care what's Bitcoin. It's some scam money, some Ponzi scheme. All of us did that. And I think when we came down to realizing what Bitcoin is it's, I think we all, Bitcoin came in our way back and back, time and time again. And I think maybe in the third or fourth time, we also, that is when we also kind of, were like, okay, fine, what is this Bitcoin? Let's learn about it. Let's see what it is. And I think most of us have had the same journey there. Yeah, she's like, by the third time I give up. No, go for the fourth go. You will see a difference. If not, go for a fifth one. That's it, unless that person is blocking you. Okay. Before we close our today's chat, we have, I think, 5 minutes to go, 5 more minutes to go. Nihal over here is saying from Bitcoin, mainstream media is still stuck on Bitcoin has no underlying. Anyone expecting to learn about Bitcoin, through those channels will be led astray. True, 100%. अभी क्या करें मतलब this entire chat over today is about Bitcoin policy and education. Now, people standing in mainstream, growing up when I decided to pursue journalism as a career, my idea was journalists know everything. Journalists know what is going on the political sphere of the thing. Journalists know what is going on the economic side of the things. They know everything because they're reporting everything. They know the crimes, they know the legal judgments, they know the judiciary, they know the legislature, they know everything. But there's still a lack. And this I've realized after coming into Bitcoin, that people in mainstream media, maybe they understand it. They've got the best intellectual power there is. They can grasp. I mean, a news happens, they understand it in the next 5 minutes. They go live on with it. So that's their speed of understanding something. And I think they have the capacity and they have the willingness and they have the need to understand that there might be some other hurdles for them at the moment, because we know what mainstream media's goals are. It's mostly TRPs and they have their metrics to drive as a growth factor. So, I mean, it comes down to that. Everybody has their challenges. Give them four more chances at least and see what happens. Conquer.
One shout out to Bitcoin Hub. So Bitcoin Hub is probably the only channel on Bitcoin education that's focused on high signal. So check out Bitcoin Hub as well, because I think mainstream media might not be our ally, but they are definitely not our competitors. I don't worry about mainstream media, other than, of course, there's like this paranoia of them taking over the narrative entirely. But I think there's more channels to educate people than ever before. Internet is the biggest creative endeavor right now, with things like Nostr coming up as well. So I think it's amazing that we have more channels coming up. Bitcoin Hub is the current leader in India who is already doing a weekly update on whatever is happening in Bitcoin. So check that out as well.
Yeah, all the people over here, including Palab, Nihal, I think we had someone else as well, right? Bhavik, please drop in your links in the comment section. We would all love to explore the channels, at least as a support. We are all going to at least follow you and maybe share across with our friends. So help you grow and help the Bitcoin education grow. Rahul is saying mainstream media has no mainstream things to talk about. Yeah, we can say that. On this note, I think Shreyan, we first of all we had a very great discussion today. Thank you so much, Shreyan, for taking out the time and joining us today for a live stream discussion. And I'm sure everybody thoroughly enjoyed it. But like I always keep saying, FOMO incoming. Let's together strong says when 100K. Shreyan, you want to drop in any prediction bombs?
I'm probably the worst guy to ask about price predictions, but I'll take a shot, because why not? So I think somebody was explaining to me a few days ago that the next few months we're going to see some drop, and then again. So yeah, I already seen that I'm not the best person to ask about price predictions, but 100K maybe next year, maybe in 2 years. The overarching theme is that in 4 years it's definitely going up. That's how I look at it. My time horizon with any decision in life is minimum 4 years.
Yeah. Bitcoin Hub possible new all-time high on Dhanteras. What do you think?
Yeah, happy Dhanteras again. I think it's a special occasion. I'm somebody who's also becoming more religious with Bitcoin. So I am somebody who's always been religious, but I've never done deep dive into it, and I'm more and more interested because I think we are living through a historic time, and it's not an accident. I don't think it's happening randomly. I think there's a method to how human society is evolving. I'm not an expert on it, but I think there is some insight and yeah, magic in religion that is unfolding right in front of our eyes. So happy Dhanteras, everyone.
Okay, okay, okay. So all the price predictions dropped, all the you know, what do I say? Anticipations around things discussed. Let me say this one thing: This is no financial advice. This is no financial suggestions. Please do your own research and take care of your own finances, make informed decisions. That is very, very, very crucial. Uh, I okay. I think it's getting more and more interesting as we move towards the conclusion of the session. Let's together strongest saying Shreyan in a Cybertruck in 2028. यश is saying भाई ऐसे कितने ही 4 साल जिएंगे जिए हैं आपने हाँ यार ये तो बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग कितने पीरियड जिए हैं आपने
I'll be honest. That's why I also avoid whenever people ask me anything about Bitcoin. I say, "यार 4 साल की cycle लगती है." I've been into it for 2.5 years, so I'm definitely not the right guy to ask when people ask me about historical predictions. But I've been observing the empirical reality of last 15 years. So 4 years is like a good rule of thumb. So I do that. I hodl as soon as I get anything on my hands, any money on my hands, they go into Bitcoin, and I forget about the price. I am waiting for 2028 to for the purchasing power to go up. That's how I call it. Number go up. I'm a huge fan of number go up, and I think that's the number one thing that gets people into Bitcoin. But I'm not the right guy to advise you on the history of Bitcoin. And also, quick shout out to Yash as well. I think he's the Giga Chad of India. So he's somebody who's also active on social media. He's active on Bitcoin education initiatives. So check him out. He's somebody who's building something called BitPeer. It's a small project that both of us started talking about. And I wouldn't delve too much into what it is about. If somebody's interested, please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or Signal, wherever you are accessible. So I'll share my profile. But yeah, this is something that we are also working towards, which is something which India needs, because this I think one point I might have alluded to earlier is that India has the advantage of also being a huge informal economy. You go to your local chai wala, he does not care about any regulations, right? He cares about just like building a network of his customers. He already knows you if you live around there. You call them chacha or you call them bhaiya, right? You already have a personal relationship with them, which I don't know if it's a unique thing to India, but I know it's a thing in India. So they don't give one shit about any policy. They don't give one fuck about any rules. They care about you. They care about serving you. And that's the spirit that I want to see with Bitcoin. That's the spirit that gets me most excited and inspired with Bitcoin. So yeah, people like Yash have already proven that he's talking about Bitcoin. He's talking about how Bitcoin should be used. So yep, that's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, we are all excited about it, and I think we're all Bitcoiners. And whosoever is watching this, I think most of you are Bitcoiners. Whosoever is not a Bitcoiner, this is also for them. Guys, don't look at the price. Don't. It's, I mean, if you like it, do just for an entertainment. Don't look at the
Do
price.
it for your kids. At least if you're in your late 20s, I'll advise do it for your kids. Don't mess your life up just because you want to get drunk. So you'll have the luxuries of your life. Bitcoin will take care of that. You're not dying anytime soon. If you're a man in your 50s, I can't. I am not somebody who's well suited to advise you. And if you're a younger person, more power to you. It's like if you're already into Bitcoin in your early 20s or teenage, it's like I'm inspired by you. So
Yeah,
yeah,
if you're using the word man, I'm a little triggered, but
if you're a girl as well, yeah, of course. Bitcoin is neutral to everything.
okay, really fun chat with you, Shreyan, today, and everybody else in the comment section. Thank you so much for making this session so engaging, so lively, and so exciting. This is what a Dhanteras evening ideally should look like, and I think more festive cheers to everybody. And shout out for Bitcoin at 72. Hopefully, a new all-time high before Diwali or on Diwali. Let's all pray for it today. Everybody, please stack a lot of sats today. May prosperity and a lot of wealth comes your way this Dhanteras, and may you be blessed with a lot more Bitcoin. Maybe आपको कोई गलती से Bitcoin आपके गलती से बहुत सारे भेज दे address पे, and
And
you
Orange Pili or Chai Wala, like I think Orange Pili or Barber and Chai Wala, it's like just spend time with them. I think they already trust you, they already love you. I don't plug Bitcoin because I don't want to abuse that trust. I want to help them take their own journey, ask questions first. But I think yeah, the way to do that is to pay them in sats and get their journey started.
yeah, 100%. So stack a lot of sats. We'll see you again next week, same day, same time. Till then, have fun, have a great Diwali, burst a lot of crackers, and have a great time with the family. Bye bye.
Thank you, Shambhavi. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin.
Get a systematic buying plan from the UnoCoin app to get your Bitcoin today. Download the UnoCoin app.